You are welcome to Lagos, Nigeria.
Mnakaribishwa Dar es Salaam.
إنكم مدعوون إلى دبي.
Bienvenue à Brazzaville.
No matter the destination, you are welcome to fly from the heart of Africa with Rwanda. For more information, visit us on www.rwandair.com.
Fly our dream to the heart of Africa.
The Prime Minister is literally just walking into the building, so in a few moments I'm going to ask you all to be upstanding to welcome him. So if you could just sort of pay attention to what's happening at the door. Just check your mobile phone. If there's one time you don't want it to ring, it's probably now. Sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, please can I ask you to be upstanding as we welcome the Prime Minister of the Republic of Rwanda, the Right Honourable Pierre Damien Habumuremyi. Thank you very much indeed. Honourable Prime Minister of the Republic of Rwanda, Right Honourable Pierre Damien Habumuremyi, the Minister of Youth and ICT in Rwanda, Jean-Philibert Nsengimana, the CEO of the Rwanda Development Board, Madame Valentine Rogwabiza, and the co-host as well of this summit, Secretary General of the ITU, Dr. Amadou Touré, a very warm welcome to you, and to you, once again, friends, distinguished guests, and champions of the cause, a very warm welcome to you all. I have to say, it's been an incredible 3.5 days. I think we set ourselves up for a lot of hard work when you have a theme under name Transform Africa Summit 2013, The Future Delivered Today. I mean, it's a pretty big ask, a tall order, and yet one task that we had to take on board. So looking back, I suppose it all began with Connect Africa 2007, where a lot of goals were set and a lot of targets put in place. And you heard over the past few days that a lot of progress has been made, particularly in terms of the take-up of mobile telephony. But as far as penetration, connectivity, yes, we've grown to 16% from something like 3.9, but there's still so much to do. And this is part of the reason why we gathered here today, to find a way forward. And over the past 3.5 days, we were very fortunate to have 7 heads of state that joined us, and in many ways helped endorse the knowledge that we have that ICT truly is the gear or that lever that can transform this continent and ultimately the lives of our people right across the continent and right across the length and breadth of our countries into the rural areas as well, where perhaps most change is required. So we thank you for the time that you spent in deliberations, in the panels, in the discussions, the thoughts that you shared with us, the solutions that you offered and provided. And hopefully we've been able to capture, in essence, some of the smart thinking that's come out of this gathering. And that will be posted on the website and made available. But we did have a document, the Smart Africa Manifesto, which we felt was a good blueprint, a good vehicle that we could use to galvanize all of this effort, thought, thinking, and moving forward. I think throughout the past 3.5 days, one of the words that we kept on hearing was taking action. We've come up with plans before in many areas, but for the first time, I think, well, not for the first time, but I think importantly, if we are to be successful in transforming Africa, I think it's clear that we need to build these partnerships, private sector, public sector, and even the bodies and NGOs in between. If we all come together, then I think we have a really good chance in making a huge difference. We may have come late to the game in terms of technology, but as President Kenyatta said, that maybe this might be our game changer, much like rail and transport and so on and so forth were for the developed nations in the past. We heard, and I think we all acknowledge that we have the resources and we have the skills already in our possession to do the right things, and only Africa can come up with the answer. But we do need those partnerships, and I think that the companies here represented, particularly those from abroad, will recognize that Africa is a great investment destination, and countries like Rwanda and others across the continent have certainly showed the way in terms of how you can harness those partnerships in building a knowledge continent, because we need to stop thinking in terms of being users and just infrastructure. We need to be leading the way in many respects, leading the way in terms of innovation, that some solutions that we've seen already come out of this continent become commonplace in this ICT arena, that people will start looking to Africa for solutions to many of the world's problems. So, a lot still to be done as we try and endeavor to deliver this future today. It's in our hands, and I think that all of you have come in common purpose. Let's just do the job. Let's get the job done, as it were. All right, I could go on for quite a bit because so much has happened. But as I said, I'll refer you to our website, transformafrica2013.org. A lot of what's happened will have been captured there by our rapporteurs, and I'm sure that we'll have many opportunities to interact. But go forth to your countries and do amazing things. Our people are depending on you to transform our continent. Right, now, by way of starting to wrap up our conference and what we've been doing, it's my great pleasure to welcome a man who really has been a key driver to Rwanda's ICT story. And he certainly has been an energy that we felt over the past few days at key moments during this summit. And so just to say perhaps a few words and also introduce our special guest, please put your hands together for the Minister of Youth and ICT, the Republic of Rwanda, the Right Honorable Jean-Philbert Nsengimana.
Thank you, Peter. I'm just honorable, not right honorable. Right Honorable Prime Minister, honorable ministers present, heads of delegation. Mine is just a simple vote of thanks. I'm really humbled by the honor you gave us by spending all this time with us and really making the dream for a smart Africa starting to become a reality, and definitely giving all of us confidence that it is going to become a reality very soon. My special thanks, of course, go to the heads of states who really graced our Transform Africa Summit, representatives of heads of states, Dr. Ture Hamadun, other secretary generals of international organizations. We had COMESA, we had UNCTAD, the AU Commissioner for Infrastructure, who represented the chairperson of the AU Commission, ministers and deputy ministers, heads of delegations from different countries, key partners, and I would cite the One UN in Rwanda, Korea Telecom, World Bank, ITU, African Development Bank, Pixar Corps, the guys who are sitting there behind, transmitting this meeting to the world through webcasting, 24 hours. They did an incredible job. All exhibitors, and I would again cite Katie for those who have been able to visit the exhibition. You saw that we had also Visa, Samsung, Pivot Access, MyPhone, R-Switch, KLab, OLPC, Airtel, MTN, Tigo, Liquid Telecom, NSN, Ericsson, Mcash, BSC, GSMA, Unlab, CMU. You would understand that I couldn't say the full names of those organizations. Otherwise, I would spend the whole day here. We also had sponsors. I'd like to acknowledge the Bank of Kigali, I&M Bank, Rwanda, Accenture, Ethiopian Airline, Air Uganda, Wipro, Afrimax, IEEE, Microsoft, BPR, Guez Show, EcoBank, BRD, SP, Exacom, Capital Market Authority, Inyanje, East African Commodity Exchange, Igihe, KBS, Century Cinema, and so on. We have many people to thank. I couldn't exhaust the whole list. I should thank the MC. Peter, you really did a wonderful job. All the journalists of local and international media who made it here and who helped us get the word out about Transform Africa, the people who provided entertainment, logistics, drivers, ushers, everyone who from far or near played a role in making this day happen. From the bottom of my heart, I say thank you. Let me also take this opportunity to really apologize also for any kind of inconvenience that any of you might have encountered due to poor planning or poor organization or just negligence from anybody in our team. I'd like to take the full responsibility for what might have happened. We really apologize, and we hope that you give us your understanding. And based on that confidence, now I'd like to invite you for Transform Africa 2015, because it is happening bigger and better. Last but not least, I'd like to acknowledge the incredible work that the teams from the key organizing institutions put in putting together this event. Rwanda Development Board, presented by Ambassador Valentine, you did a very good job. The people at Rwanda Utility and Utility Regulation Agency, RURA, my ICT, members of steering committee organizations. We had almost every government department hand in the organization, from security to logistics and so on. So I really like to recognize the foot soldiers that made our event happen. I won't extend these remarks further. I really want to look at you in your faces and thank you, each one of you, personally, for really being able to join us, and more importantly, the commitment that is coming from here. He interrupted the flow of my ideas. Most importantly, the commitment that is palpable, is tangible, is visible from each one of you to go and, from the light of the new era that His Excellency the President Paul Kagame lighted for us, go and become a light in your own organization, back home in your own country, and let's make the dream of Smart Africa become true. Now, I've been asked to introduce the man who made us dream in this house, whom I humbly also request at the end of your remarks, Dr. Ture, to please also invite for us Right Honorable Prime Minister. I'd like to invite to the podium Dr. Ture Hamadun for his concluding remarks. Thank you.
Honorable Prime Minister Pierre Damien Habumuremyi, Ambassador Valentine, my sister, Minister of Communication and ICT, Commissioner of the African Union, ladies and gentlemen, 6 years ago, in this very room, we started our journey to connect Africa, charting the way to connecting Africa with broadband. We've asked our heads of state at the time to dream and dream big, and they deliver us with a vision. Today, we're here at the closing of Transform Africa, our next and ultimate stage that will take us from the information society to the knowledge society, that will make Africa, in the next 7 years to come, by year 2020, an emerging continent. And we had here 7 heads of states and governments, and they dare to dream and dream big for us. We've listened to their message. I'm very happy to say that the leaders have stepped up to the hope that we are putting on them. Indeed, and I would like to take the opportunity to thank the so many participants of this conference. Over 2,000 delegates of you gathered here from all continents, from the international community, from public and private sector, and above all, the young generation of Africa who was here, the youth that I want to salute. I had the pleasure and honor to address them during this summit. And I could look at them in the eyes and see something bright, and see some hope and confidence. When their time comes, they will be up to the challenges that they'll be facing in this world. And it gives me pleasure to know that there is a hope. There is hope for this continent. So I would like to thank you all for coming here to Kigali. Kigali that has set the stage for us. Our leaders who came here saw the development around them in a very short time. This is an opportunity for me to say thank you to President Kagame. Thank you, Kagame, for your leadership. Prime Minister, Prime Minister, please convey our thanks to President Kagame on behalf of this conference for his leadership, for his vision, and his courage to do what he says and say what he does for us, for this continent. The manifesto endorsed by the Roundtable of African Ministers is our roadmap for transforming our continent into one of hope for the current and future generations. And we're very proud that our heads of state here has endorsed it, and they have reassured me that they will take this manifesto to the African Union at their level so that they can bring their contribution. I would like also to highlight the need that we've seen in this manifesto for capacity building as a basis for transformation. I'm therefore pleased to say that we at ITU will support the historic decision to create the Transform Africa Scholarship Fund to support centers of excellence like CMU. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a perfect picture of hope for Africa during these 4 days that gathered the youth extravaganza as a parallel part of the Transform Africa Summit. The exhibits that we've seen, kindly put together by our host country, has demonstrated to us practical and real things that are happening in this field, and it has given us a snapshot of what the future can be if we all work together and use this industry. Mr. Minister, Excellency, I would like to reassure you. You have asked us for indulgence in case of any imperfection. And I can safely say there was none. There was none. If there were any imperfection, you would be very, very well excused. But there was none. And thank you, team. The team was working behind the scene, was so efficient. I simply cannot have enough words for them. I would conclude, the Prime Minister, by just saying that now we, every one of us here, will need to go and transform Africa with a single vision and concerted efforts. Together, we will deliver future for Africa today. Thank you.
It is now my privilege and honor to invite the Right Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Pierre Damien Habumuremyi, to come and share his remarks with us.
Thank you, Minister Philibert. Honorable Ministers, Dr. Amadou Touré, Secretary General, International Telecommunication Union, senior government officials, members of the diplomatic corps, distinguished delegate, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to address you at the closing of this historical 4 days Transform Africa Summit. This summit that was blessed by the presence of 7 heads of state has been an excellent opportunity for all its participants to be heavily engaged in a high-level dialogue and foster consensus among decision makers and industry players on key ICT policy issues and partnerships that will drive socio-economic transformation in Africa. During this summit, it was reiterated that the future can be indeed delivered today. To make this a reality, we must start with our commitment to change our nations and our continent as a whole. It was my pleasure to learn that all participants to this summit have testified their commitment, as it was pointed out in your discussions and pledges, to remain key players in this transformational process. Building from the remarkable progress achieved since the Connect Africa Summit in 2007, participating countries in this summit have now taken bold and innovative commitment to fully leverage broadband to transform communities, governments, and business. This time is our time. This time is our time to accelerate sustainable socio-economic on the continent and guide Africa into the knowledge economy through affordable access to broadband and usage of ICTs. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to emphasize these efforts of the government of Rwanda under the leadership of His Excellency Paul Kagame, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, in developing the ICT sector over the last decade. For those who may not be aware, I would like to highlight the investment of the government of Rwanda in infrastructure. As an example, Rwanda has a fiber optic cable that covers 2,300 kilometers at the national level. The use of this cable has helped Rwandans to experience fast, reliable, and cheaper internet services. More recently, the 4G network, which is being developed through a joint venture between the government of Rwanda and the Korea Telecom, and officially launched this week on Tuesday, will be another critical step towards the realization of the broadband promise and will certainly change the lives of our citizens. These investments will play a very critical enabling role for all sectors of our economy, notably education, health, business, and agriculture sectors, to name only a few. They will also promote good governance in our country and will allow the Rwandan government to increase the quality of services offered to our people. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, as we are closing this summit on a high note, I believe that we are all going back home with a renewed commitment to utilize the transformative power of ICTs to create wealth and prosperity for our people. As a commitment, as a continent, let us continue to work together as we invest in solutions that capture the power of ICTs with the key objective of increasing off-farm jobs, promoting innovation among the youth, and improving the capacity of governments to more efficiently offer services to citizens. The way ahead will require that we remain focused and work tirelessly to achieve the 5 principles of the Smart Africa Manifesto endorsed by the heads of state during this summit. As outlined in the Smart Africa Manifesto, the Smart Africa alliance will be utilized as a framework for implementation, monitoring, and evaluation of this manifesto. The alliance will be a partnership between African countries adhering to the manifesto, the African Development Bank, the World Bank, the International Telecommunications Union, and the private sector. It will develop continent-wide goals and milestones, as well as best practices to guide the implementation of Smart Africa. It is now our responsibility, we Africans, to develop and implement our own smart country programs with clear targets. These will need to be strongly aligned to the Smart Africa principles, and the Alliance has pledged to provide technical support to countries in these regards, while also assisting governments in mobilizing funds from development partners and the private sector. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, before closing my remarks, I would like to recognize and appreciate, on behalf of the Rwandan government, the support from all partners that made this event a success. We would like more particularly to recognize the contribution of the International Telecommunications Union, the World Bank, the African Development Bank, the Africa Digital Media Academy, Korea Telecom, Carnegie Mellon University, and Visa, just to name a few. I would also like to thank all speakers and all delegates who came from far away and converged into Kigali to share their experiences and insights during the 4 days of the summit. We hope that you all enjoyed the Rwandan hospitality, and we look forward to seeing you again in Rwanda for the next series of Transform Africa events, but also for many other events that Rwanda is always honored to host. Finally, I want to invite members of the private sector to take advantage of the many business opportunities that Rwanda offers. With these few remarks, I declare the Transform Africa 2013 Summit that took place in Kigali officially closed. Thank you for your kind attention. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, on your behalf, I would just like to say thank you very much indeed to the Prime Minister of the Republic of Rwanda, the Right Honourable Pierre Damien Habumuremyi. Thank you so much, sir, for reaffirming some very important points And I think points that we will take home with us today, that it's our time to usher in Africa into a knowledge economy through affordable access to broadband and the usage of ICTs. You also, I think, reminded us of the great example that Rwanda has set in this remarkable ICT journey, bringing 4G technology to this country. And I think that this is the kind of leadership that can serve as an example to the rest of the continent as we move forward. But as you say, the way ahead will require that we remain focused and work tirelessly. And I think it's fair to say that our people are depending on us. So thank you very much indeed, Mr. Prime Minister, for sharing your thoughts with us and for welcoming us into your country. I think we've all had a great time. Thank you very much indeed, sir. Right, ladies and gentlemen, can I ask you all to give a warm send-off to our Prime Minister and the delegation, and thank them for joining us. Thank you very much indeed, sirs. I'm sure we can do better than that. Come on. Oi. Right, ladies and gentlemen, and that's how we... with that, ladies and gentlemen, one last announcement. ICT Agriculture Conference for next week. So your visas have been extended. You can stay for another week. But that's how we come to the end of this. You've been amazing. I'm just so amazed that so many people came from so far and wide to be here. But I think it's time to unleash you into the world. Do what you need to do. Do not tire doing good. And we will see you at Transform Africa 2015. Take care, everybody. Bon voyage. Au revoir. Don't forget the exhibition on your way out. There's a guided tour, and it's on the way to lunch. So pop into the exhibition and enjoy what you see there. Goodbye, everyone.